나처럼 groovy하게 나처럼 groovy하게.
It's that time of the year again when I feel like every group decides to release something, so let's talk about March and April comebacks. I didn't really like the way I did my last comeback review, so I'm going to be doing this one a little bit differently, and you guys can tell me which format you like better if you care to. The first half of this video is going to focus on releases that I felt like warranted some discussion because of certain controversies surrounding them. This isn't limited to comebacks, it also includes singles and debuts. Then the second half of the video is going to focus on my favorite comebacks from the past 2 months, only Korean releases, and I'll explain what set them apart from other songs in my opinion. I want to make it clear that all the comments I make in this video are simply based on my opinion, and I'm not trying to say something is objectively good or bad, I'm just trying to give my own feedback according to my personal tastes. There were also a lot of songs that I liked that were released during this period, but I felt like I just didn't have as much to elaborate on as the ones that I'm mentioning here, plus I didn't want this video to run super long, so just because a song isn't included here doesn't mean I didn't like it. If you want to know my thoughts on something I didn't mention in this video, you can ask me about it in the comments. So the main reason I wanted to talk about this comeback was to address the whole Leah being lazy controversy. This is honestly one of the dumbest controversies to have come out of this year. Leah obviously isn't being lazy, she clearly seems to be trying her best. I'm fairly certain that the other members have also said that Leah is the one who practices the hardest. Leah is a good dancer, but the issue is that she's surrounded by dancers who are better than her. She doesn't have as much training in dancing as some of the other members, so obviously she's not going to be as good as them. She doesn't stick out like a sore thumb or anything though, it's just that she has a couple more areas to improve on compared to the others. Sometimes I feel like the public just loves to pick any female K-pop idol to bash for the smallest reasons. Like, you're really gonna attack a teenage girl for being slightly worse at dancing than the other members of her group? And these are the same types of people who act sad when something tragic happens to an idol that they ripped apart for trivial reasons. I'm sick of the hypocrisy. Just leave Leah alone. If you want to hear my opinion on the comeback itself, here it goes. I think I'm in the minority of people who were a bit disappointed with this comeback, mainly because I feel like a lot of the songs on the album sounded really similar. Wannabe definitely sounded like a watered-down Dalla Dalla in my opinion. I felt like it was fine for Icy to be similar, because it was their first comeback and they were trying to establish their place within the industry. But at this point, I think they can afford to try to change up their sound a little bit since they have a big fan base now. I do want to state, though, that I don't think it's inherently wrong for a group to release similar sounding songs, and I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who prefer groups that stick to a particular style, which is totally fine. But for me, versatility is something that I really value in an artist, and based on this album, I feel like I may have overestimated how much I liked ITZY, since I did really like the fact that their debut sounded different from anything else in K-pop at the time when it was released. Again, I don't think it's objectively better for an artist to constantly switch up their music rather than sticking to a certain sound, but in terms of my personal preference, I like groups that can surprise me with their concept in music, since I feel like it's more interesting. Okay, so the main reason why I wanted to talk about this comeback was because of the line distribution of the song and the controversy surrounding the amount of lines Soyeon gets. Now, I'm not really someone who gets pressed over line distribution since I feel like most of the time companies actually do a good job of distributing lines based on whoever's voice actually fits the song the best. But with G-Idol's music, I do definitely feel like the line distributions are a bit unfair, especially towards Soyeon. I think the argument that a lot of people make to justify the distribution is that since Soyeon is the producer of a lot of their songs, it's fair for her to give herself the most parts. Which I guess makes sense to an extent, but at the same time, if you're promoting in a group, you have to be concerned about the interests of the group as a whole. I'm curious as to whether Soyeon gets paid extra for producing music. If she isn't, then I totally understand why she'd give herself more lines, because I'd probably do the same thing. If everyone in my group got paid the same for doing less work than I did, then of course I'd give myself more lines and try to make myself stand out to compensate. But if she is being paid extra, then I feel like there needs to be some separation between her role as a producer and as an idol. I feel like they could have easily given her lines at the beginning of the song to Naeun and her lines in the chorus to Uki, and she'd still have a ton of lines in the rest of the song, and I don't think it would have changed the tone of the song much. But it seems kind of unfair that one of the main vocalists of the group is consistently getting some of the least amounts of lines in songs, if that's what they're expected to excel in. That being said, I've also seen a lot of people bashing Soyeon and saying that if she wants to have so many lines, she should just go solo, which I don't think is really fair to say. Whether you like Soyeon or not, you have to admit that G-Idol wouldn't be where they are without her. Since she's produced so many songs for them, she's basically shaped their sound and image, and if she left the group, I feel like they wouldn't really be able to recover. Cube doesn't seem very good about giving their idols comebacks unless the idols take the initiative to make it happen by producing their own songs, which is probably why G-Idol has so many comebacks and CLC barely gets anything. I do think it might do G-Idol some good to work with a wider range of producers. I think that would put less pressure on Soyeon and might solve the line distribution issue, but to do that, Cube has to actually be willing to make that sort of investment in their groups. And I know they have the budget to do it looking at their music videos. As for the comeback itself, I wasn't crazy about the title track, mainly because I didn't like the chorus that much, but I feel like they found a sound and a style that works for them. So I guess I'll just have to accept that I probably won't like their comebacks as much as I did for their 2018 releases. I did actually like their mini album though, especially the B-side Maybe. So, in case you couldn't tell from the two EXO universe theories I have on my channel, I'm somebody who has watched EXO's music videos, like, a lot. So, when I first watched the music video for Gravity's debut, I definitely did notice the similarities between their video and a couple of EXO's, notably Tempo, Overdose, and the logo at the end looks like their logo from Exodus. I do want to preface this by saying that these similarities aren't the group's fault, it's the fault of the directors and their entertainment company for not checking. While I did definitely pick up on similarities between EXO's music videos and this one, at first I kind of shrugged it off because I also did think that there were enough differences between the two to avoid it being considered a copy. I don't think that this video was blatantly plagiarized, but there are too many similarities between the two for this not to have been heavily inspired by EXO's work. I did look at some of their other teaser videos, and while they do share some sort of supernatural backstory like EXO, it definitely doesn't seem like a copy of EXO's superpower theme. I think it's foolish on the part of the director of this music video and Starship to create a music video with so many similarities to one of the biggest groups in K-pop, because obviously people are going to draw comparisons between the two, and of course the original is always going to be held in higher regard. Anyways, I do sincerely wish Gravity success. It's not their fault that their videos were similar. Hopefully they'll get a director with a more original vision to come up with the next video. The song itself kind of slaps. It's not a standout debut in my opinion, but it's definitely better than average. Alright, so I know that cultural appropriation is a sensitive topic, so I'd appreciate it if we can have a mature, respectful discussion on this topic. I'd like to preface this by saying that I'm someone who is Indian, and when I watched the teasers for Stay Tonight, I definitely did think that one of the looks appeared to be inspired by styles similar to those used in traditional Indian culture. I also think it's important to note that the music video didn't include shots with the style in question, and I'll elaborate on my thoughts on that in a bit. I don't know if the headpiece in particular is something that's exclusive to Desi culture, but it definitely does look like something that is worn with traditional outfits, especially for special occasions like performances and weddings. I honestly didn't really have a problem with her wearing this, though. In my opinion, there's a fine line between cultural appreciation and appropriation. I think that something crosses into appropriation when one of two things occurs. Either the person using the style tries to turn it into a trend and devalues the cultural significance of it by making the style seem like their invention, or if the person uses the style to degrade or mock the culture that they are borrowing the style from. I don't think Chenle has done either of those in her video, and I personally think that she looks beautiful with the style. I don't think it's wrong for K-pop artists to use elements of Desi culture in their styling, but I'd also appreciate it more if they would use this as an opportunity to educate themselves and maybe even others about Desi culture. In my opinion, it's not inherently wrong to borrow from cultures as long as you're aware of the significance behind the look. That being said, I can see why others might be offended by this, so if a Desi person says that they felt uncomfortable by the teaser because they think it's appropriation, please don't use my opinion as an excuse to try to invalidate their opinions. I obviously can't speak for every Desi person when I say that I'm okay with this. I'm curious to see what you guys think about the situation though, especially if you are somebody who is Desi. But anyways, back to the actual music video. I didn't see any shots where this style was shown in the music video, so I'm assuming that her entertainment company saw the response from fans and subsequently took out the shots that featured it from the music video. As of recording this video, the teaser is still up though. I think that her entertainment company did a great job in handling the situation. Most of the time, neither the idols nor the companies will address accusations of cultural appropriation, but here they clearly did take fans' opinion into consideration while avoiding making a big scene out of the issue. I think it's good that they left the teaser up. It shows that they aren't trying to erase the fact that they used the style in the first place. I still would have loved to see Chenle in that style, but if including the shots would have led to a bigger controversy, then it's definitely better that they took it out before it became a bigger issue. I love the song. In terms of song releases, this is one of my favorites from the past 2 months. The music video is also stunning. I love the choreography. While my eyes were glued to Chenle most of the time, I also want to take a second to appreciate the backup dancers in the song. They killed it too. It gave me Magnetic Moon, Run for Your Life vibes, and I'm here for it. Can you guys imagine a collab with Chenle and Tiffany? That would be the death of me. Now let's move on to my favorite comebacks of the past 2 months. The 4 comebacks I chose were the ones that really stood out to me the most, and I will be going through them in order from 4th place to 1st. I determined this ranking with a combination of how much I liked the song and how much I enjoyed the live stages. ONEUS has been a group that I've been monitoring since debut, and I think I can finally say that I've become a fan of them. I think all their previous releases have been phenomenal, and one of the things that I really like about them is that I don't know what sound to expect from them. They're a group that can pull off a variety of concepts and still turn it into something that's unique to them. A Song Written Easily is probably a simpler song compared to their earlier releases, but there's something that I felt was really beautiful within the simplicity of the song. I love the meaning of the song. I think that some of the members wrote the song, which is amazing to see a K-pop group doing, period, but the fact that they're doing this as rookies makes it even more impressive. The music video definitely gave me Mamamoo's Star Unite vibes. I think it might have had the same director. It's simple but beautifully shot, which definitely complements the vibe of the song. I wasn't expecting to love this comeback as much as I did, but it's definitely one of my favorite releases of the year. At first, I was a little annoyed of how repetitive the song was, but now I think it's an absolute bop. One of the things I love about this comeback is that it gives most of the members some sort of memorable part, because I feel like some of their comebacks can kind of feel like Mark featuring Taeyong and NCT 127. I love the styling of this comeback. The music video is amazing. SM definitely gave them a good budget for this, and I love to see that. Let's also talk about the Neozone album, because this has definitely been in my top 3 album releases of the year so far. Pretty much all the songs on this album are pretty different from the title track, but somehow it still feels like a cohesive body of work. I really like the fact that they have a lot of softer songs on this album. Sometimes I forget how talented NCT's members are as vocalists, because a lot of times the rap line will stand out to me more, but I love to hear their singing. My favorite B-side on this album was definitely Love Me Now, but the album as a whole is fantastic. The day the song was released on Spotify, I literally listened to it on repeat for at least 50 times. That's not an exaggeration. I haven't been this obsessed with a title track since 2018. I only found out about April's existence at the beginning of this year after seeing Naeun in a couple of dramas, and I absolutely fell in love with their last comeback, Oh My Mistake. Oh My Mistake has literally everything I could want in a K-pop comeback. The song itself is a bop. I can definitely hear the 70s and 80s influences within the song, plus the inspiration from Clueless and the late 80s, early 90s fashion was just the icing on the cake. It is one of the greatest K-pop songs I've ever heard. It manages to be catchy yet relaxed, and while it has a very poppy, upbeat sound, it has a sort of dark undertone to it. Quite frankly, I didn't think they'd be able to top this, not because they aren't talented enough to, but just because the song was so unbelievably good. But I was definitely proven wrong about that with this release. I think Lala Li Lala actually managed to hook me in faster than Oh My Mistake. I absolutely love the sound. It sounds almost like a Kara song, but with a very April feel to it. While the music video itself reminded me more of films like Inception and The Matrix, the song itself reminded me more of Star Wars. I think it manages to blend both elements of the past and the future to give it more of a unique feel. You can definitely hear the 80s influences in the song, yet it manages to maintain a futuristic vibe to it. In terms of songs, this has definitely been the best title track of the year. I also love the styling for all of their live stages. I think it does a great job of complementing the theme of the song, and of course they all look incredible. The areas where I slightly took off points for in this comeback was for the live stages. I also think that having a couple performances when they sang in a lower key was a bit disadvantageous, since I felt like the key change interfered with the original energy of the song. The mini-album also didn't wow me, although I did like the live stages for Oops, I'm Sorry. Overall, though, I was extremely pleased with this comeback. While I definitely think this song was worth waiting for, I hope that their next comeback doesn't take 1.5 years to happen again. I had high expectations for this comeback after the masterpieces that were I'm So Sick and and A-Pink did not disappoint. Literally everything about this comeback is perfect. The song itself feels like a breath of fresh air. This one also feels like it's influenced by older styles of music, especially in the pre-chorus and in the chorus. I love the vocals, especially Eunji's, the queen of singing. Eunji is one of the best vocalists in K-pop, period. The music video is also gorgeous, and I love the choreography for the song. I thought all the live stages were phenomenal as well. I think that some of the members mentioned that they were worried that they wouldn't be able to sing the song live with the choreography, but they absolutely nailed it. Also, can we talk about this gorgeous styling? I'm so happy to see girl groups this month actually having good styling. Some other stylists definitely need to take notes. I also love how they chose to promote their B-sides for this album. The subunit stages were so cute. I think I like the stages for Be Myself a little bit better. I think it's also because I like the song better too, but I still felt engaged watching both groups. I literally would have never guessed that A-Pink had been around for 9 years watching these stages. They still have so much energy and look almost the same as they did in their earlier eras. They are one of the few groups who I genuinely don't think I can criticize. They've aged like fine wine. They are phenomenal performers, and their discography feels unique and fresh, even though they've been making music for so long. Before I wrap up this video, I wanted to include a quick thank you message to you guys. Today marks the 1-year anniversary of my channel, and I'm so grateful to have you guys to discuss my K-pop opinions with and share theories with. There were a lot of times throughout this year when I thought about quitting and deleting this channel, especially when I first started it because I felt like my videos weren't reaching anyone, but seeing people positively react to the content I posted pushed me to keep going. I really hope that you guys enjoy listening to me talk about K-pop as much as I enjoy sharing my opinions, even if you don't agree with what I have to say, and I hope to keep improving my channel next year to make more content that you guys love to watch. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to let me know your thoughts about these comebacks down below.